From late 2022 into early 2023, the state of California found itself at the center of one of the most relentless flooding events in its modern history. Unlike ordinary seasonal storms, this disaster was driven by a powerful combination of large-scale climate dynamics and regional weather systems working in unison. At the heart of the phenomenon was the well-known El Niño climate pattern, which alters the circulation of the Pacific Ocean and injects additional heat and moisture into the atmosphere. El Niño often shifts the jet stream, the high-altitude river of fast-moving winds, further south, positioning California directly in the pathway of repeated storm systems. Unlike ordinary rainstorms, atmospheric rivers can stretch for thousands of kilometers and carry more water than some of the largest terrestrial rivers on Earth. Over the course of several weeks, California was repeatedly hit by these systems, one after another, leaving almost no time for rivers, reservoirs, or drainage basins to recover between storms. Between December 26, 2022 and March 25, 2023, rainfall totals in certain parts of the state reached nearly 50 inches, the equivalent of 1.27 meters of rain. In some mountain and foothill regions, gauges even registered localized amounts surpassing that figure. To put this in perspective, nearly half of California's normal annual rainfall fell in just a 3-month period. The intensity of the precipitation pushed rivers such as the Sacramento, San Joaquin, and Russian River well above flood stage, while low-lying neighborhoods in the Central Valley experienced water levels rising between 2 to 6 feet in some residential areas.
There's a bunch of stuff over there.
Yeah, there's more stuff over there. Fires?
Fires,
Santa Barbara?
Montecito.
Montecito?
The sheer volume of water placed enormous pressure on the state's network of levees, reservoirs, and dams. Emergency releases had to be carried out at multiple reservoirs to prevent overtopping, and spillways that had been dormant for years suddenly became critical tools in flood management. Local drainage systems in both urban and rural communities were overwhelmed, leading to widespread street flooding and the temporary shutdown of entire road networks. In addition, sustained winds associated with the storms often reached 40 to 60 miles per hour, 65 to 95 kilometers per hour, toppling power lines and trees, further compounding the damage and disrupting transportation. The impact on infrastructure and daily life was extensive. At the height of the flooding, more than 200,000 homes and businesses across the state were left without electricity, in some areas for several consecutive days.
They went through the garage.
Approximately 6,000 residents were forced to leave their homes and take shelter in emergency facilities. Thousands of vehicles, from passenger cars to farm equipment, were reported damaged or completely submerged as floodwaters rose quickly in urban streets, rural highways, and agricultural fields. California's agricultural sector, which produces more than 1/3 of the nation's vegetables and 2/3 of its fruits and nuts, suffered particularly heavy losses. Floodwaters inundated tens of thousands of acres of farmland. Destroying crops such as lettuce, strawberries, tomatoes, and even almond orchards. Many fields remained underwater for weeks, making it impossible for farmers to plant or salvage produce. The flooding also damaged irrigation systems, barns, and storage facilities, further increasing the financial burden on the state's agricultural economy. Across California, more than 700 roads and highways sustained damage, ranging from landslides in mountainous areas to collapsed pavement in low-lying valleys. Schools and public facilities in affected counties had to temporarily close, and bridges in both rural and urban areas were placed under strict inspection due to erosion concerns.
That's to the local news. Delavina and Haley. Creek is overflowing.
Financially, the disaster carried an enormous price tag. Early assessments estimated the total damage at $4.6 billion, but subsequent reviews that included agricultural losses, infrastructure repairs, and emergency response costs suggested that the figure may have been closer to $6 to $7 billion. This makes the flooding event one of the most costly in California's recent history, rivaling other natural disasters in both scale and economic impact. This makes the flooding event one of the most costly in California's recent history, rivaling other natural disasters in both scale and economic impact. This makes the flooding event one of the most costly in California's recent history, rivaling other natural disasters in both scale and economic impact. These forecasts allowed families to take precautions. Many residents secured property with sandbags, elevated valuables to higher levels inside their homes, or relocated vehicles to safer ground. Cities activated evacuation centers in advance, ensuring displaced residents had access to shelter, food, and essential supplies. In the aftermath, California began assessing long-term solutions, including reinforcing levee systems, upgrading stormwater infrastructure, and expanding floodplain management. While the floods left a visible mark on the state's landscapes and communities, they also highlighted the importance of preparedness, forecasting, and collective resilience in the face of increasingly powerful climate-driven events.